Good morning. My name is Ken and I am traveling the country currently out of my 2017 Kia Soul. Before, I was doing van life in my 2004 GMC Savannah, and I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys about what I'm doing with my life and what the next things are. So to get into it, I was working a corporate job in Central Arkansas, and I decided to walk away from that job. And the reason I decided to walk away is because I just felt like I wasn't growing as a person there. And I felt like part of me was becoming a little bit too comfortable with the constant, consistent paychecks that I was receiving. I could tell that I wasn't really pushing myself in the direction that I wanted to push myself in. And that's the main thing that I want to talk about in this video. Like, what do I actually want to be doing with my travel content? And for the longest time, I've had this idea of doing interviews with other nomads, specifically younger and like Gen Z nomads. You'll have to forgive me, my allergies are killing me today, but I'm persevering, I'm gonna push through. But I've had this idea in my head for a few years at this point, where a lot of modern nomads and a lot of Gen Z nomads have been able to sustain themselves through making content online. Something that I feel like is kind of missing in like the YouTube and long form space is younger people, younger Gen Z, or just like even younger millennials talking about exactly how they were able to become modern nomads in a long form way. There's a lot of like cool aestheticized Instagram content, and I'll admit that I've also been someone who's done like that aestheticized kind of Instagram style content too, but something that I've always wanted to see is longer form, deep videos from people my age who talk about the struggles of choosing to live a lifestyle that's different than the one that we've been sold, and especially right now, where gas prices are skyrocketing and the job market is horrific. I think now is a more important time than ever for people my age who have been nomadic or who are looking to get into nomadic life to have a place to come to talk about that. And that's really what I want to do with this channel. I still want to make content around my life, like vlogs about what I'm doing, but that's the greater mission of what I would like to do with my platform and with this channel. So that said, why am I in my Kia Soul? So speaking about expensive gas prices and things just generally being like unaffordable and all of that, I just quit my job. So I'm trying to save as much money as I possibly can. And I came to the realization that I could travel in my GMC Savannah, my camper van that I've spent the past few years building out, or I could do it a lot cheaper and a lot faster in my Kia. And I ultimately decided, since if the content that I care more about is content centered around me asking other nomads how they're able to make their lives possible, then I can kind of decenter my van. And because I have this car, I have the van along with this car, it's a lot cheaper for me to travel in this car. And I've done it before. I've done a 2-week-long cross-country road trip in this Kia before. I haven't lived in it long-term like I have with my van, but I feel like it'd be a fun challenge to see what it's like. So that being said, you can probably see I've got a bunch of stuff in the back. It's super messy right now. I put all my stuff in here and I drove myself out to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'm hanging out with my friend Sav and kind of just regrouping and figuring out, okay, I did the thing, I quit my job, and where do I go from here? How do I do this thing? I've reached out to a few nomads. We have some interviews in the pipeline, so I can start getting those interviews out to you guys, but also just talking to people in real life about how they make this lifestyle possible. Because first and foremost, I want to make this content not only for other people, but also for me too, because while I do have a van and while I do have experience doing car camping in this car, as far as like the sustainability of it and like actually making it financially viable, those are questions that I still have for a lot of nomads, and I'm just as curious. There's something else I want to talk about, but it's lunchtime and I haven't eaten since this morning. I'm gonna go inside this Heb. Hello, this is Editing Ken from the future. So since recording this video, I have learned that it's pronounced H-E-B and not Heb. So you'll have to forgive me, but I know now. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Get some groceries and eat some lunch. I think I'm gonna get their sushi and have that for lunch, and then I'll probably like drive to a park or something and we'll talk a little bit more about the next chapter of what I'm doing, because oh my god, you guys, I'm actually so excited. I would be lying if I said I have any idea what I'm doing, because I don't. But I knew that the answers would become clearer once I left my job and actually got on the road. That being said, I'm gonna go inside, get this food in my tummy, drive to a park, and meet you guys back in a second. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to come out here to talk about this chapter of my life. Cheers. That hits a spot when you're hungry. After graduating college last year, I figured, you know, I might as well get into the corporate workforce, so I did that. Started an internship. This was actually while I was in college. My last semester, I started working for a company in Arkansas. And that was okay, I guess, but I just kept having the feeling that I was kind of wasting my youth, which is really dramatic, I know, but like it was a feeling that I tried really hard to make go away. I just like found myself kind of getting depressed, I guess, and I didn't feel like I could really grow into myself. And I always knew that I wanted to travel and I wanted to explore, and I always had the idea, not always, but for the past 2 years, I've had the idea of doing a series where I interview younger nomads about how they make their lives possible, because ultimately that's the life I want to live. I want to be nomadic. I want to travel. So I kind of felt like being at work, the only thing I was really getting out of it was just a paycheck. And I realized that if I were to take my energy and put it elsewhere, I could potentially match the money that I was making at work and potentially make more. I got to a point late last year in December where I decided that the longer I spent at work, the harder it would be to leave. So I decided ultimately to leave my job. And it definitely feels like that was an insane decision, but it was a decision that I came to over months of going back and forth about it and fighting with myself about how I was going to do it and when was the perfect time and when I'd be ready to leave. And I came to a realization that I would never feel fully ready. So I did it. Here I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area eating sushi on a bench, and I'm feeling pretty damn good about it, to be honest with you. I have to remember that I'm not leaving my job and kind of flinging myself into just aimlessly wandering around. I actually did a lot of groundwork before I quit my job. I got monetized on YouTube first, I built an audience on Instagram, and I think I just have just enough going for me where I'm definitely gonna have to grind, but this lifestyle and me being able to sustain myself nomadically is possible. And I had to really believe that. I had to believe that I would just kind of jump off of the diving board and that I would land and I would be okay. I am looking for creative partners, for people to interview, for people to show me how to do this. I'm trying to use myself as an example because for the longest time I was the person who wanted to live this lifestyle but didn't know how to do it, so I just didn't. And I got to a point where I just decided to make it happen. But I want to use whatever platform I have to show other people who are maybe working in corporate that You don't have to stay. You can take a leap, and there are people who are willing to help. And there are resources for you. And I want to put all of that into one place. And at the end of the day, I feel the most alive when I'm moving and traveling and meeting new people and eating yummy food and being outside in the sun like I am right now. Doing this, the only thing that can make something like this better right now is being with other people. That's it. I consider eating a good little meal and being outside and having a little bit of fun, being active is ultimately what life is all about. You know, we're out here, I can hear the birds, I can see the sky, I can see the grass. I feel the most human, I feel the most in my body. And having the ability to do that is, I think, all I've ever wanted. You know, I've been someone who's worked in big tech and who lived in Silicon Valley, and I've tasted what that feels like. And I remembered coming home at the end of every day just like feeling like I needed to numb myself out and like watch YouTube videos about other people living the kind of life that I wanted to live, and getting on Instagram and watching other people do it. And I thought to myself, like, what kind of a life is that where I'm on paper doing the thing and making the money that looks fantastic to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I just numb myself out and escape into watching other people live the life that I actually want to be living. What does that say about my life? And then I realized that living that lifestyle of working the big job didn't make me a stronger Ken. It made me a more comfortable Ken in some ways, but in other ways it made me weaker, in that I was moving away from the actual work that I wanted to do and the actual life that I wanted to live. I was dimming myself. But all in all, I'm glad that I had the experiences. They taught me a lot, but I think the biggest thing that working in corporate, whether it was in software engineering, marketing, whatever, it's taught me that I definitely know what I don't like. And if I've learned anything from creating, you know, goofy videos and being outside around other people and having conversations like the one I'm having right now with you, is that this is what I love. Like, all of this is what I love, and this is what I want to do. And if I have to grind to make it a possibility, then that's okay with me. Okay, sorry, I had to get up and make sure that the camera was still working. Anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to say. I'm gonna finish up this sushi, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm roughing it. I am very much so roughing it, but I've never felt more like in line. And all I want to do now that I don't have an in-person job that I have to go to multiple times a week, all I want to do is just make as much content as I can that I think is helpful, not only to other people, but to myself as well. If you would like to support me in my mission, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link in my YouTube bio. That's the best way to support. If not, I have a How to Get Started Car Camping guide. If you'd like that, that's totally free. You can download that at the other link in my bio. I'll catch you guys in the next one.